Hey guys, I'm the Gamers, and today we're talking about the day before, and today is the day before comes out. And I have some concerns about this game. Mainly, one of the main things is that we haven't seen any other gameplay other than the pre-scripted stuff that we've seen so far. The lady running through the little suburban area, and also the original footage that we got back in, I think it was 2021, when it kind of looked like the Division, and it was all like really graphically advanced and next gen. And then all the footage after that we got, the graphics got downgraded and downgraded over and over again to that the game doesn't even look exactly like it did originally. It looks completely different than it originally did. One of the other issues that I've kind of been worried about is that the game is $40. Why is an early access zombie survival game coming out at $40? That's kind of a high price point. Look at a game like Dead Matter. Dead Matter also launched at a high price point, and it was a complete disaster. This game is launching at a higher price point. I mean, AAA games are $60 or $70, and a lot of other games that are like not AAA but maybe AA games launch at around $50. So when you're pricing your game that high, you have a lot of stuff that you need to live up to. Like, people are going to have high expectations for your game pricing it that high. Like, if the game was $20, $15 or $20, people would probably keep it and not refund it. But if it's not like really good, or if there's a lot of issues, people are going to refund that game en masse if there's problems. One of the other issues that I do foresee on launch day is that we have had zero server tests. There's been zero closed betas. There's been no open betas. There's been no play tests done for this game other than what the developers themselves have done. So we don't know if the servers are going to be good, but I predict it'll be a complete disaster. So what I think is going to happen is that people will buy it on launch day on Steam tomorrow. I'll be at work when it happens, so I won't be able to test it out. But this is a preliminary video with my predictions. I think it'll come out. The servers will be a complete disaster. They'll be overloaded, and no one will be able to get in and play. So people are going to be like in queues, keep relaunching the game. They'll get over that 2 hours of playtime, and they won't be able to refund the game. And there's going to be a bunch of negative reviews on just the server issues alone. Then, once people get into the game, it's probably going to be a complete disaster. Like, it's not going to be anything like what they've showed off. It's probably going to be an early access, like, asset flip title. You know, I could be wrong. I want to be wrong. You know, is it really too much to ask for a good open world zombie survival game in 2023? Like, you know, there's probably a reason that none of these AAA studios are taking on the task. Not a single AAA studio have done this. Like, we have games like Days Gone and stuff like that, but a AAA studio has never taken on an online multiplayer open world zombie survival game. No AAA studio has done it. It's all been independent studios that have been doing this. And I think there's a reason for it. It's because the scope is too big. A game like that, the scope is massive. Look at DayZ, for example. DayZ had a lot of issues. It originally was a mod, right, for Arma and Arma 2, I think it was. I think it was Arma 2 that originally was a mod for. Well, it came out as a standalone version, and it was hated. It was hated at first, and it took a long time and a lot of work, and now there's a pretty good, dedicated fan base that plays the game. But it was a disaster at launch. And there's a lot of other games that are exactly the same way. You know, you have The War Z, you have Infestation Survival Stories, you have Romero's Aftermath, you have Dead Matter, you have, I mean, the list, The Dead Linger. There's probably a ton of them that are on my game library right now that are just complete disasters. And that's one of the things, it's like, an open world zombie survival game is just huge in scope. There's so much development time that goes into it. You know, so much goes into it. You're basically putting in so much time and stuff, like, as something like Grand Theft Auto. Like, the scope is that big. So, like, an independent studio has to work extremely hard to make it even, you know, playable and that stuff. The other thing is, where did all the original, like, vehicles and things go? A lot of things have changed in this game over the years. People have been pointing out that a lot of the stuff in the game is assets from the asset store, and that's fine. That's fine to use assets. But when you're using an overwhelming amount of assets, that's when it becomes a problem, because you don't want to be that company that is doing basically an asset flip. You want to be, you're going to have assets here and there, but you need to have like your own stuff, your own like created models and things. You need to have your own like game, like not just, bits and pieces from other things, basically. That's the whole problem with an asset flip. We also haven't seen much about the gameplay, the gunplay. We don't know how all these systems work. We don't know, you have these houses and things that you can get in the game, supposedly with Woodbury coins and things. Also, Woodbury is a area, it's a city in The Walking Dead, which they copied off of. And, a lot of things they've copied off of. What like that mall area that they had in the game was completely copied off of The Division. And a lot of the artwork that they had for this game was completely ripped from The Division. I think they just took like pictures of The Division and put it in AI and have the AI change it a bit and like, oh, that's it. That's the one. And then they took that and used that as their promo pictures. So they've done that with a lot of stuff here. And I don't know. I just don't see it being good. I would love to be surprised. Like if it comes out and it's a really good game, I will eat my words and I will come on here and I will make another video, praising the game. I would love to do that. I would love to say that. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think at this point, this game is, there's been too many red flags. They've used the game to promote Prop Night. They used it to promote their Microsoft Teams ripoff called it was like a calendar app or whatever it was called. Yeah, they've used a lot of that kind of stuff to basically rip off other things, and they've used it to promote other games. Prop Night right now is on Steam right now, developed by Fantastic, and they've basically completely abandoned that game. That game, the player base has dropped a lot. It had a decent amount of players at launch. It's a Dead by Daylight ripoff, and they have basically just stopped development of it because there's not enough players playing it anymore. So, and they have, what was it? They've had a couple other games that have come out, and they've just basically abandoned. There was one winter game that they had. Was it Long Winter or something like that? Something like that. And it was a winter survival game, and they've abandoned that. So who knows? Maybe this game comes out and doesn't, initially does well with sales, but everyone refunds it and everything, and then they abandon it, and move on to the next thing. But either way, they've also they got a sponsorship recently from a taxi company or some kind of rideshare company in California, some like new up-and-coming one or something that I'd never heard of. They recently partnered with that, which is just odd. Okay, that's weird. But there's all sorts of stuff, red flags that they've done. They've been using volunteers to create the game and like unpaid volunteers and stuff. I just don't know. I just don't see how it's going to come out in any playable state, honestly. But I want to know what you guys have to say. What do you think about the day before? Leave a comment below. What are your predictions tomorrow for the day before? Is it going to be a disaster? Is it going to be an amazing game? Or is it going to, is it going to be a flop, with server issues and all these issues and things? I just want to know. Okay. So anyways, this is Not the Average Gamer signing off. Catch you guys in the next video.